Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well, you bloody cheeky so-and-so. And my name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. There's no update on this one as yet. I just saw the title and I was like, oh my word, check this one out. It's from a Throw Valentine 13 and it says, am I the arsehole for ruining my friend's proposal moment? Oh dear. I, 24 female, hosted a Valentine's Day party this Friday for our friend group. Two of the friends in this group, Emily, 25 female, and Tyler, 25 male, have been dating for a while. A few days before the party, Tyler texted me that he was planning to propose to Emily at my party. He seemed really excited and asked me if I could help him plan the moment. The thing is, Emily is one of my closest friends and has told me multiple times over the years that she would hate a public proposal. Like, she's been very clear about this. She's mentioned it to me when we were both attending another wedding. She thinks they're performative and is the most shy and introverted person I know. She'd be anxious at the thought of so many eyes on her and feel pressure to say yes even if she didn't want to. I tried to hint subtly to Tyler that maybe a public proposal wasn't the best idea, but he kind of brushed me off. I suggested doing it on the actual Valentine's Day, but apparently he had to work that night and couldn't get it off. Plus, he wanted all of our friends to witness their romantic moment together. I panicked and told Emily of his plans. She was grateful I told her, but also really upset that he didn't know her well enough to realize she'd hate this. She must have confronted him about it and their conversation didn't go well because when they came to the party, the tension was obvious. Everyone could tell something was wrong and it made the whole night awkward. Tyler has barely spoken to me since, and he said in our group chat that I sabotaged him and ruined the most important moment of his life. One of our friends said I should have talked to him privately instead of telling Emily and that I betrayed him by giving away his secret. A few others are just annoyed that the party was ruined by the way they acted all night. Some people are on my side, but I regret causing so much drama over it. Tyler thinks I deliberately sabotaged his proposal. I think if he was ready to marry her, he should have known her well enough to know she'd hate a public proposal. I was trying to save them both from embarrassment. But now I'm wondering if I should have just warned him more directly instead of telling her. I feel terrible that I'm in the middle of their relationship drama and caused somewhat of a rift between our friends. Am I the arsehole? Scenario In comes in and says, I tried to hint subtly to Tyler that maybe a public proposal wasn't the best idea, but he kind of brushed me off. I panicked and told Emily of his plans and then says, yeah, you could have easily just told him instead of hinting. That was stupid. You're the arsehole. I Love Wally says, you're the arsehole. This was not a moment to hint at. You should have been mature and just communicated to him. Rebel Time says, you're the arsehole. You should have just directly talked to him and advised him accordingly instead of ruining his moment. Damage has been done now, and I wouldn't blame him if he doesn't forgive you, to be honest. 2374 says, not just ruining his proposal, but honestly by the sounds of the aftermath, probably killing their relationship as well. It doesn't sound like the couple were ready for that step in general, but she also didn't imply they were doing badly, which they definitely are now. Would have taken literally a few seconds to just communicate like an adult instead of blowing shit up. Bent Scissors says, you did deliberately sabotage his proposal though. Why on earth didn't you literally just tell him that she would hate that and don't do it? Don't be polite about that kind of stuff, that would ruin relationships. You're the arsehole. On the back of that, a commenter says, why is proposing to someone he knows so little about? He thinks a public proposal will be welcome when it absolutely wasn't. Astral replies to that saying, my theory is that was the point. He figured she couldn't turn down a public proposal since it would make her look heartless and him good. It's about bringing public pressure against a shy introvert. It was a grand gesture for him, not for her. OP could have voiced it a bit stronger, but the reactions they describe afterwards definitely make it feel like she wouldn't have accepted the whole thing, and it would have been a disaster. Boyfriend blaming OP for it because he is sure that if it was public, girlfriend had to accept versus whatever happened in private. Boyfriend is definitely more of an arsehole than OP. Yearly Depression says not the arsehole. I don't think you're an actual arsehole in this situation. Clearly his proposal plans would have been ruined if he'd gone through with it. Isn't it better that it didn't happen in front of a crowd? However, it would have been better to directly tell Tyler how strongly Emily feels about public proposals. He obviously wasn't getting the hint. If after directly letting him know that Emily hates public proposals and would be embarrassed, he still planned on going through with it, that would have been the best time to tell Emily. But what you did doesn't rise to arsehole behavior. If a surprise is planned for a good friend and you know that friend would hate the surprise, it's not wrong for you to tell the friend. Your loyalty is to your good friend, not Tyler. And it looks like it's going to be a You're the Arsehole post when it comes to, there's a lot of You're the Arsehole comments in there, but I gotta say, I was a not the arsehole. Maybe an everyone sucks here, but not the arsehole in this, because OP did try a subtle route first. Yes, of course, there was a better way to do it, but Tyler dismissed it. I think at that point you had a choice. Let your close friend get blindsided by a public proposal that, she'd hate, or give her a heads up. Which I think you chose your friend's comfort over Tyler's surprise factor, which for me was the right call. I personally don't think OP ruined anything. If Tyler doesn't know his girlfriend well enough to realize she'd be mortified by a public proposal, that's a him problem, not a you problem. But it's going to be interesting to see your comments on this one. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, asking, would I be the arsehole for suing my friend when she didn't come to my wedding? The story is short, but there is a little update to this one as well. It says, I, 25 female, recently got married to my 25 male husband in Bali, Indonesia in January. It was a destination wedding, but my parents and his parents paid for their own plane tickets and hotel, but we paid for our friends' plane tickets and hotel stays. Each plane ticket was about $2,000 USD, and hotel was maybe about $150 to $300 for a week. My friend Gemma brought along her newlywed husband John along, but paid for his plane ticket. The problem is that Gemma and John did not show up to my wedding. Gemma took the free plane ticket to Bali and the hotel room, and when I asked her why she didn't show up, she said they couldn't afford their own honeymoon, that this was a perfect opportunity, that John decided that he didn't feel like going. I was really hurt by this since Gemma and I have been friends for over 10 years. Would I be the arsehole if I took her to small claims court for the money I spent on the plane ticket and hotel? The way my jaw fell open when I saw that she turned around and said we couldn't afford our own honeymoon, so we'll take those plane tickets and do our own thing. Cheeky bloody bastards. I mean, I'm not sure if you'll get money. I don't know all the legalities of it, but whenever I see situations like this, it's always a pain in the ass to get money from people around this amount. But if you can, absolutely fair play to you, because that is just taking the piss. And I always just I sit back in my chair and I think the absolute thought process behind that. Imagine someone buying you a $2,000 plane ticket and thinking, fuck the wedding. I'm going on my own honeymoon. Gee whiz. I mean, I hope you get your money back, but either way, the friendship is absolutely cooked, right? First commenter says, can't believe I'm saying this, but not the arsehole. Someone offers to give you a free vacation on the condition that you attend one party during that time. I'd be jumping for that opportunity. To take that free vacation and then no call, no show to your friend's wedding is really shitty behavior on their part. They could have extended their stay if they wanted to treat that trip as their own honeymoon. Hugo says, you're not an arsehole. Your friend is the arsehole here, but I can't see you winning any sort of claim. Legally, you gifted her a plane ticket. There was no contract, she had to come to the wedding. Commenter says Gemma is not your friend, or Gemma was sort of your friend, but is so under the thumb of her husband that she does whatever he wants, even if it makes her a bad friend or is just horrendously bad manners. She should have gone to your wedding even if you didn't feel like going. She should have been embarrassed beyond belief about what they did. She shouldn't have been able to enjoy herself doing something that tacky. That should have ruined the trip for her. Suing her in small claims court is unlikely to get you anywhere. One would like to think that it would embarrass and humiliate them, since it'd make their bad behavior public. But if Jim is the type of person to do what they did, he won't care and will try to make you look bad. Just let it go. cut them out of your life, and move on. And one more from Just Browsing, who says, I wouldn't call you an asshole for suing them, for essentially stealing your money. But is this really something you want to go through? It's a big ordeal. You probably won't win, and whatever mutuals you have are gonna choose sides, and you better be prepared to make your case to them. Personally, I would write them off as terrible people and cut them out of your life. Of course, I'm not in your financial shoes, so I don't know how critical that money is for you. So as I said, OP did add an update in the same post and says, I messaged Gemma per multiple comments advising me to invoice her for the plane ticket and hotel room. But I did something a little better. I wanted to get proof so if I had to go to court it'd be easier to win. I messaged her this. Hey, sorry for being so distant, but I just wanted to talk to you about Bali. I'm hurt that you didn't show up to the ceremony. I pulled a lot of strings to ensure that you would come and then you didn't show up. Did you think I paid for the trip just so you could honeymoon with John? She replied, I've missed you a lot and I know the trip was for your wedding, but John didn't want to go because he felt like your wedding ruined the illusion of the trip being our honeymoon and that you'd understand. I replied, no, I don't understand. You took advantage of me and that's not what real friends do. So I'm invoicing you $2,387.53 for the cost of the plane ticket and hotel room. I will give you 30 days and after that I'll be taking legal action. I received no response, but she's been posting subliminal quotes on Instagram that are along the lines of entitled friends and having snakes in your life. Thank you all for your verdicts and help. There was a little part of me in that update where, she said, I missed you a lot and I know the trip was for your wedding, but John didn't want this and, you'd understand, etc. There was a tiny part of me thinking maybe she's just in a controlling dynamic and, she couldn't push back, etc. And then we got to that fucking entitlement and the snakes part and I was like, oh my God. Oh my bloody word. Again, I don't know the legalities behind this, whether OP would win in court, in small claims court with something like this. But the absolute cheek of talking about entitlement, right? Bloody hell. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from RightLink4238 and says, am I the asshole here for not letting my sister wear my dead grandma's diamond earrings for her wedding? It says, hey Reddit, throwaway account because my sister is also on Reddit following my actual account. When I was 16, my grandma passed away. My older sister was 26 at the time. It's been 4 years since then. My grandparents have moved right next door to my house, 10 years prior to her death, so I was 6. I had a really close relationship with my grandma since I really grew up with her. My sister, however, wasn't as close. She was always busy and never hung out with her like I did. She moved out when she was 18 and hardly visited. I would hang out with my grandma every weekend. She would take me shopping and we had multiple traditions together with just us two. Before she passed, I was randomly over there one day when she told me she had something for me. She pulled out a pair of earrings and gave them to me. I didn't think much of it because she always gives me little trinkets or jewelry and I hadn't really gotten a good look at them. Later that day I was telling my mum about it and showing her the earrings. You can bet I was very surprised when she was freaking out saying that they were her diamond earrings. My mum explained that she had those since my mum was even a kid and wore them every day. She was a little shocked she gave them to me, considering I have around 40 cousins and some of them also have children. Very big family. Again though, I'm very close with her and none of my other cousins live near, so they really didn't see her as much. She said they're worth a lot of money. I definitely wouldn't sell them because they mean a lot to me. A week later, she unfortunately passed and was happy to have something to remember her by. Fast forward to now, and my older sister is getting married in May. She came to me and asked me about the earrings and if she could wear them. I said no. The thing is that she loses literally everything of mine. Ever since we were little, she would always take my things and end up losing or ruining my items. She's lost countless earrings and jewelry, and she doesn't take care of them at all. I really don't want to risk her losing them, and I feel like she would. She got very upset and called me all sorts of names, yelling that my grandma would want her to wear them. I said if she really wanted you to have them, she would have gave them to you. She stormed off, and we haven't spoken in a few days. Her fiancé has reached out to me, getting mad as well, saying it's unfair of me. My parents are also defending her. I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong. I mean, it's just earrings. Does she really have to wear them? They are my earrings, and they were given to me. So am I the arsehole for this? The fact of the matter in this is that your grandma gave those earrings to you specifically, not to any family member who needs to wear them for a special occasion, but to you. And there's a history behind that. You were the grandkid who was there, spent time with her, and had a close relationship with her. That was her choice to make, and she made that choice on purpose. And even without that, your sister has a history of losing and ruining borrowed items. And I'm saying losing with air quotes here because how's she losing that much? It just seems like, you give these earrings over, they're going to disappear as well and be, air quotes, lost. And you don't want to lose those items. It's a huge risk with a history, and it's a special item to you. It's a part which connects you to your grandma. And anyone saying stuff like your sister said grandma would want her to wear them is just manipulative bullshit. There's a part of me here, and I may be reading way too much between the lines here, that is sister the favorite in this situation? With your parents, that is. I mean, them siding with her and you having this close relationship with grandma that your parents seem shocked about because she gave you the earrings. Just felt to me like you spent a lot of time with your grandma as the favored adult, but I don't know. That's just like a thrown out comment there that might be completely false. Recreational Gluttony says your sister will lose them. I'd put them away in a safety deposit box or somewhere your family doesn't know about. Otherwise, you'll lose them too. Throat says not the arsehole. You loan her those earrings and you will never see them again. Another commenter says, quoting, the thing is she loses literally everything of mine, and then says that's well enough reason not to. Not the arsehole. And I think you should really put them somewhere else, considering a safety deposit box at a bank until the wedding is over, or a hollow book on the shelf. Emotions during wedding prep make people do ugly things. Your family is already pressuring you, and I hate to say it, but she is careless with your things because she doesn't care about you, and your parents care more about her. They're not above stealing them from you, and this is something you should be willing to protect. You can buy some bait earrings on Etsy. If they are a simple shape, and put those in an obvious place like your jewelry box. If they disappear, you know what's up. In any way, I have a dupe for my engagement ring, because it's also a family heirloom and we travel frequently and I don't want to risk it. The real thing only comes out to special occasions. And that is the route people went down. Everyone's just saying, do not do it. You will not see those earrings again if you do hand them over. Other people saying, if she was to wear them to a wedding, then they become part of her wedding outfit and special to her in that way. So she might claim them in another way. And the parents are turning around after that and say, oh yeah, she's absolutely right. They were part of her wedding outfit. She should keep them now, right? We'll just get you another pair of earrings. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story has trigger warning on it of possible mental health or medical issues, and it's saying it's pretty concerning. It's from a throwaway account. It is an older story and there's no update to it, so if you don't want to listen to it, timestamps are always there. It says, my wife, 33 female, is denying we're married and wants to be called my girlfriend. I'm confused. My wife, 33 female, and I, 29 male, have been married 4 years now, coming on 5. We've generally had a good relationship and a good marriage. We had a reasonably expensive wedding, which we're still paying for now. I get the bill every month to prove it. My wife took charge of planning the wedding, so it was to her taste. She seemed to enjoy it at the time, and for the first few years of our marriage, she would look back at the wedding with me happily and without issues. In recent months, I've noticed my wife's attitude to A, our wedding, and B, our marriage itself shift. It began by her, I thought jokingly referring to herself as my girlfriend. She told me to buy her a girlfriend card for Valentine's Day rather than a wife one, for example. I thought she was just playing around at first, but this behavior has only escalated. 2 months ago, my wife stopped wearing her wedding ring. I was understandably upset and asked her if there was something wrong. She told me everything was fine and she just doesn't like the sensation of jewelry on her hands. My wife has never liked rings and jewelry, so this could be the case. But when we're with our friends, my wife will get upset if I talk about her as my wife rather than just a girlfriend. She will go as far as to interrupt me if I'm talking/telling a story to correct me on our relationship. Initially, this was something our friends laughed at, but now everybody just finds it understandably awkward. One of our friends was talking about their own wedding, which is scheduled for early next year. They asked for advice from my wife about how she had planned ours, and my wife responded with, "What wedding?" When our friend continued talking about the table decorations my wife had used, my wife visibly teared up in front of the whole group and had to step outside. Later that evening, I asked her directly if she has a problem with our relationship or if I'm doing something wrong in our marriage. She assured me that everything is fine between us. From my perspective, outside of this issue, our relationship is strong as ever. We're considering kids in the near future, our sex life is great, and my wife recently suggested we get matching tattoos as a renewal of our love. Is there advice anyone can offer on why my wife might be acting like this? And what should I do? So, there was a few comments on the back of this one. The first one said, "I think your wife might need a doctor or some therapy. What you've written sounds like she's having a disconnect from reality. Get professional help." Whimsical Reader says, "You need to sit down with her seriously and make sure she's okay. This does sound like she could be having a breakdown and needs some help." Ronnie Babbitt says, "Or a brain tumor. This happened to a friend of mine and he started losing parts of memories. He had a tumor the size of a kiwi they had to remove. Edit, the fruit kiwi, not the bird." Cat Jerry says, "If she got upset when friends talked about her table decorations, it sounds like Opie's wife genuinely believes they're not married. As per other comments, meds or other health issues can cause this. Go to a doctor. I know 2 people who acted weird and did really crazy and dangerous things totally out of character. One of them involved a tractor because their meds had messed up their calcium levels. Go to a doctor." Wanda Pig says, "This sounds like a serious mental health crisis. I would schedule an appointment with a trusted physician to first rule out any physical injury or issue that could be causing this somewhat sudden onset of denial and request scans of her head to rule out anything serious. If she's otherwise physically healthy, then it's time to see a psychologist. Either way, I suggest you be gentle with her at the moment, but avoid confronting her about this topic. The fact that she said, 'What wedding?' and had teared up leads me to believe there is something very serious happening to her, whether it's physical or mental. In either case, you are definitely not equipped to handle it. And if she is on the brink of some kind of emotional collapse, you don't want to be the one who pushes her over the edge by demanding answers or forcing her to look at photos of a wedding that she can't remember. As someone who has personally experienced some very serious mental health problems that included a sudden loss of short-term memory, I cannot tell you how scary it is to be betrayed by your own mind like that. Get her some help immediately. Good luck, OP." And one more commenter says, "This is the best answer. Get her to a doctor ASAP and be kind, not accusatory. My gut feeling from what you have posted is that this is not something malicious on her part, but an actual physical or psychological problem. Please help her." That's an absolutely terrifying situation. It definitely does sound, medical or mental health related, because the fact that she's openly distressed in front of an entire friend group to the point is making everyone uncomfortable. Everyone else is noticing it, right? Which is scary. And it was to the point where she had to leave the room. It's genuine distress that she's unable to control. And how scary it must be for her. Must be some kind of mixed reality where you're being told one thing, you're thinking another. It blows my mind, that does. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. Let us know your thoughts on it. And let's move on to one more story from Lavia, who says, "Am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend that he should have covered up his tattoos if he wanted any respect from my family? My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years. We're polar opposites but managed to work through our differences in the past. For some context, he's almost 90% tattooed, up to his neck, and comes from a difficult background, to put it mildly. Today he's employed and doing well for himself, but his upbringing was quite rough. I wouldn't describe myself as posh at all, but I come from a family where image, looks, and your accomplishments matter. However, I'd say I'm a little more casual than them. A few months ago, I finally got the courage to introduce him to my family. This was a huge deal to me, and I told him that first impressions would make or break everything. I told him that he will cover his tattoos. No ifs and or buts, because my parents are super old-fashioned. I bought him an outfit for the night to ensure he'd look presentable and classy. We had a practice run and I told him what he should or shouldn't say, how to talk, how to address any of my dad's concerns, etc. At no point did he ever show any enthusiasm, so that was a bad sign. Fast forward to the dinner, it was an absolute disaster. Yes, my parents and sister were a little critical, but they're like that with any guy I date. My boyfriend was so pissed that he purposely unbuttoned the top of his shirt so you could see his tattered neck. Of course, that offended my parents and a huge argument ensued. Not only were they telling him that he's not good enough for me, they were telling me how disappointed they are. It was a nightmare. To make it worse, my boyfriend told them that I like his tattoos, which I do, but he was just adding fuel to the fire, and that it didn't matter what they think. They told him to leave. It goes without saying that my parents have zero respect for him now. It was already difficult to convince them that he's much sweeter than he may appear. My mum has been hysterical and asking why I'm having intimate relations with someone who looks like they belong in prison. He's not a criminal. I've been guilt-tripped and made to feel like complete shit, all because he chose to wreak havoc. A couple of days ago we were arguing and I told him that he should have hid his tattoos if he wanted any respect from people like my family. He was hurt and said that it's fucked up that I want him to change to gain respect from them. He even claimed that I'm obviously embarrassed to be associated with him and not even worthy of respect in his eyes. None of that is true, just saying. After that argument, we haven't talked much. So am I the arsehole for telling my boyfriend that he should have covered his tattoos if he wanted to establish a level of respect my parents could work from? It's not that they bother me. I think he's crazy attractive, tattoos or not, but he knew that my parents would freak out. Edit, the amount of women DMing me that they're single and asking if I broke up with him yet is pathetic. It wasn't funny the first time, and it isn't now. I also think mods can lock this post now. Bloody hell. I mean, you're not an arsehole for wanting your boyfriend to make a good impression to your parents. I guess everyone would want that, right? But everything else around this absolutely gave me the ick and is shit. The whole practice run bit where she's literally coaching him like he's incapable of basic human interaction, how to talk, how to address concerns, treating him like some kind of act rather than her partner. It's just all degrading. And the fact is, I could see it myself. She knew herself that her parents would be cruel about the situation. She knew they'd judge him harshly, but she still threw him into that situation without having his back. When they told him he's not good enough for her, she didn't shut that down immediately. She just sort of sat there and sort of accepted it. And he had had enough by that point. He's like, fuck this, I'm unbuttoning my collar. If they want the real me, they're gonna get it. And obviously that was going to escalate the situation. But again, I get it. When you're being treated like shit and your girlfriend is doing nothing to help you, they've already made their choice. What difference will it make, right? You may as well just do what you want. And to come out of all of this and not be apologetic, but still criticize your boyfriend for all this, you know, if he was to get any more serious with you, this is what he's in for the long run, right? But Roberta says you're the arsehole. You say you coached him on what to do, say, what to show, i.e. his tattoos. At what point were you going to show your parents your boyfriend and not this puppet you set up for their approval? I get that it's a lot of pressure to deal with from your family to keep up standards, but you've acted like you agree with those same standards wholeheartedly. Why not warn your parents ahead of time that he's tattooed so your poor boyfriend didn't have to feel like he was being hidden away like so much cat vomit? By telling him he has to appear acceptable to them, you're essentially telling everyone that you're ashamed of him. What was stopping you from telling your family about his tattoos earlier? Also, what was the plan for the future? Tattoos would have been seen sooner or later, as would his true personality. Natasha says, was coming to say that I didn't even reach past the coaching part because I already know. OP, your family are judgmental arseholes, and you sound stuck up with a stick up your ass. Give over. Either you love him for who he is, or you go your separate ways. This isn't keeping up with the Brady Bunch. You're the arsehole. 750 more says, definitely you're the arsehole, but sounds to me like there wasn't a boyfriend problem, but a girlfriend and family one. OP, why weren't you coaching your nasty family on how to behave like decent people? OP and her awful family owe the boyfriend an apology. Shiny Littlefoot says, you're the arsehole, my love. If your parents base their respect on a person's background or tattoos, they are the problem, not your boyfriend who managed to do well for himself despite his background. Extra assholery is that you actually like his tattoos but pretended not to. In order to what? Impress your parents. Show them that you're a good girl. Yep, you're the asshole, a pretentious one at that. And one more comment who says, to add another dash of assholery, you gave this man lessons on how to walk and what not to talk about. No wonder he feels that you want him to change. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.